just waiting to speak to us, just waiting for us to ask some questions and to provide the answer and the guidance and the direction. I like to think that our passions, our joy, is sort of just right below the surface, just waiting for us to say, okay, come out now. What if it's just there, just waiting to be invited to come out and play? However it looks in your world to expand that joy. So the question now is, how do we get started? Well, we get started by being aware, awake, and alive. That's how we get started. We get started by thinking about what truly does make us feel good about who we are and where we are. Our passion is something that we have, but it's also something that people around us can nurture and bring forward. That's why we love joining in community, right? We love each other, we support each other, and we challenge each other. We challenge each other to be a better version of who we're here to be not a better version, a more complete version of who we're here to be. Because that's what it's about. It's about being that complete version. It's about recognizing that we have creativity. We may not think we're creative individuals. If you got up this morning and got dressed, you've got creativity, let me tell you. Because you figured out what to put on. But really, we think creativity is with the artist and the musician, and it is. But creativity is also just being unique, just being who we are to be. This past Tuesday, in the Unite the Night, my neighbor across the way had the block party. And it was marvelous fun. I had no idea. I knew we had a lot of kids in the neighborhood, but when you put all of them in one yard, oh my God. The superhero capes and the tutus and the crazy boots, and I don't know, these kids were dressed to the hill in their own unique way, and the creativity was fabulous. The noise volume was a little insane, especially when their water balloons started to fly. But it awakened something within me. It awakened that part of me that remembered playing as a kid. You know, when you were fearless and you put on what you wanted to put on because that's what you wanted to put on. I love that. Instead of looking the way you're supposed to look and acting the way you're supposed to act, just letting it all go. I can tell you that children's laughter is contagious. Just go to any park and just embrace it. Fancy Ray had a chance this week to embrace that. Just notice who's around you, and the joy starts to happen. If we can remember back to our childhood and what made us happy and what brought us joy, we have a pretty good idea of where our passion lies. Oprah Winfrey began play acting in front of an audience that she created of farm animals when she was like 2 years old. She would perform in front of these farm animals, and she would interview them. And she wrote a letter to her kindergarten teacher saying, I shouldn't be here, I should be in first grade. And the kindergarten teacher was like, yeah, you probably should be in first grade. She was so clear on what brought her joy that she wanted more of that. One of the things I used to do when I was a little kid in the wintertime is there was this little corner in the basement, and I would make a little classroom out of it. And I'd decorate a bulletin board, and I'd get out this little book and we'd go through instructions with my dolls. And when I think about it, which I've done a lot this week, is one of the things that I'm passionate about is teaching. Not teaching like lecturing, teaching like, let's get together and do this. Let's do these exercises. Let's experience this. And that is the part of my corporate career that's really brought me the most pleasure. I have always had a job. When I look back, I have always had a position that allows me an opportunity to bring diverse people together as one and walk down a unique path together, an experience. And it's one of my passions. Think about it. Can you think back to a childhood something that brought you joy? It's part of your assignment this week. When you were a little kid, what play did you like? I mean, why did you want to be an astronaut or a doctor or a nurse or a teacher? Right? Who did not want to be an astronaut growing up? I mean, come on. The excitement and the thrill of it all, that excitement and thrill of it all is still there. We just have buried it in our adulthood, I think. In the book of Matthew, there's a parable about the talents. And this master is going away, and he takes his 3 favorite servants. And to one servant he gives 5 talents, to another servant he gives 2 talents, and to another servant he gives 1 talent. A talent in those days was a form of money. And he said, these are yours to have and to use while I'm gone. Well, the first 2 servants, they invested their talents, and they doubled their money. But the third servant, with the 1 talent, he buried it in a place where no one would find it. Master comes back. All 3 servants are so happy, and they get called in one by one. And the master is so pleased with the servant who doubled his 5 talents into 10, and the one with the 2 talents into 4. But the servant who was the most proud was the one who buried his talent. He knew it was a sure bet. Did not want to disappoint the master. And the master took his talent from him because he didn't deserve a talent. He said to the other servants, "Well done, good job. Thank you for being faithful. As a result, you're going to be rewarded with your master's happiness and riches." But that third servant, he was afraid. And his master was disappointed that he didn't take that talent and put it to good use. Alan Cohen is quoted as saying, "Psychologists tell us that infants are born with only 2 fears, one of falling and one of loud noises. Every other fear is learned. Fear is not a reality, because if it were, everyone would be afraid of the same thing." Think about that. Everything that shows up in that realm of fear isn't real. And that talent that we've buried, we can't bury it forever. We can't let it die within us. Because even when this body is gone, right, that talent, that uniqueness, that divine expression moves on. Ernest Holmes, our founder, writes, "If we make every day a day of praise and thanksgiving, a day in which we recognize the divine bounty and the eternal goodness, if we live today as though God were the only presence and the only power, we would not have to worry about tomorrow." Why would we not be worried about tomorrow? We wouldn't be worried about tomorrow because we'd be so busy with praise and thanksgiving today, who would have time to worry? Right? Imagine spending an entire day like that. Just praise and thanksgiving. Just praise and thanksgiving. Imagine spending 1 hour a day like that. You know, we're never too old, we're never too wise, we're never too tired, we're never too poor, we're never too busy to take a minute and say, what is bringing me joy right now? What is making me feel fulfilled right now? And to ask that question, what am I willing to do? What am I willing to do? From that place of knowing that it's all good and it's all God and it's all uniquely divine. We talk about the fact that life is a journey, right? It's not just point A to point B. It's a journey. There's lots of things going on. And yes, some of that is adulthood, but all of it is God. All of it is God. The reading I love today so much because it all takes us back to that place of knowing it is all God, no matter what it is. And when we take that it's all God to the next level, imagine how our day turns around. Because for me, what I know is that when I awake in the morning and I just become willing to do what is mine to do. I'm just willing to be willing. It's amazing how the day unfolds. Remember, this isn't a burden exercise. This is about allowing the joy to come out, to allowing space for spirit, that universal consciousness, that one divine creative energy, to say, okay, you're ready to play? Let's go. Right? You ready for me to put you in? I'm putting you in, and we're going to do it. Because just like the story of the talents, we're all entrusted with our own unique skills, our own unique joy, our own unique gifts, which we are here to bring out to play in the world, not to keep hidden. There's that statement, where your attention goes, your energy flows, right? Well, when your energy flows, your vibration raises up. So not only when we're putting our attention on our willingness, we're putting our attention and demand on the universe for a greater expression of joy this day. We're putting our attention there, we're putting our energy there, our vibration there. And when your vibration is a willingness for joy, you're no longer playing in the muck. You're now playing in that big league of divine, joyous vibration. Can you feel it? When you do something that you love, that's where your vibration is. It's at that place. It's at that place of, it's at that uplifted place that nothing should ever stop you. That's what I'm talking about today. That vibration that sets the world on fire because it is contagious. And when you're on fire, people around you are either on fire with you or they're running out of the building, right? And if they're running out of the building, I say let them run. Because they can't play at that level. We all have people that we used to be really close to and now not so much so. Not because we're too busy or they've moved away or whatever, but just because there's just not that connection. They're just not part of our community, our family, our energy, our vibration. And trying to keep them in that sphere is not serving you or them any good, right? It's about playing with those people who want to play at that level of pure joy and excitement. Those people who know that we are the change agents of the world. We, each and every one of us. And when we gather together, as Joan pointed out in community, imagine what we do. How good we feel when we walk out of this room from gathering together as a community. That is how good others feel around us when we become willing to rediscover the joy. And that is your assignment this week if you choose to join me in it. Spend some time, look at the clouds, appreciate the rain, maybe walk in it without an umbrella. I don't know, with an umbrella, it doesn't matter. But go back to childhood. What did your imagination have for you then? Because whatever that is, I'm willing to bet that some of it has outpictured in your life. And it's ready to outpicture at an even higher level, at a greater level, with an impact on this world, on this planet. It's not about hanging out with the dynamic trio of fear, worry, and doubt. It's not about that. If there was no fear, worry, or doubt in your world, what would you be doing? If there was no such thing as age or lack or not enoughness, what would you be doing? When we play, when we let our imagination go to that place, that critical imagination that Albert Einstein spoke about so eloquently, that it is that place of imagination that allows everything to begin. This week, let's begin there. Let us let go of that self-consciousness, comparative, that idea of failing or being judged or judging oneself. Let that go. And let's just, this week, let's just spend a little bit of time each day just being willing to remember what brought us joy on those wonderful summer days when there wasn't school and there wasn't work and there wasn't responsibilities. There just was. Let's go back to there and bring it into our hearts and see what happens, because I'm willing to bet something wonderful happens. In fact, I know something wonderful will happen. So with that, let's pray, shall we? I invite us just to sort of like roll our shoulders a little bit and come back into this space with our breath and recognize that, we are all divine and unique, individualized expression of this one consciousness, this one ooey gooey goodness of divine intelligence, of creative energy, of glory. And not only do we not walk ever alone, but we are always walking in the image and likeness of the one. That one, which I call God, God is walking as I walk. It is that close. It is truly the whole thing. The thought, the material, the outcome. And it's from that place that in this moment, I declare my truth, and I invite you to join me in being willing to be willing to know and to remember that joy that awakens the soul, that spark that is alive and on fire. In this moment, I am willing to let it come out and play, to let it be known, to be seen, to be actualized. Letting go of fear, worry, and lack. Eliminating any idea of scarcity. I step into my talent, my unique skills and gifts, and I say, yes, Spirit, let us bring those to the world at a higher expression of joy. I say, yes, Spirit, direct and guide. Knowing that I am so willing. And from that place of willingness, I also become willing to allow God to do all of the heavy lifting. And I allow myself praise and thanksgiving. Thank you for all that has been, all that is, all that will be. Praise for this divine community and this divine connection and this incredible knowing. Yes. I just say yes, and so it is. I want to close with a quote and invite you to join me in taking this as an affirmation for the week. My creativity is amazing. It renews and it recreates my whole experience. I am a new person with a fresh mind, living in an interesting world. And so it is.